The History of Burlesque, a timeline. How much do you know about the history of burlesque? Think you know everything about burlesque? Keep watching. You might be surprised about the real origins of this classic performing art. What is burlesque? A burlesque is a literary, dramatic, or musical work intended to cause laughter by characterizing the manner or spirit of serious works, or by ludicrous treatment of their subjects. The word derives from the Italian burlesco, which, in turn, is derived from the Italian burla, a joke, ridicule, or mockery. Keep that in mind. Burlesque is a mockery. Victorian burlesque in the 17th and 18th centuries. Victorian burlesque, sometimes known as travesty or extravaganza, was popular in London theatres between the 1830s and the 1890s. It took the form of musical theatre parody, in which a well-known opera, play, or ballet was adapted into a broad comic play, usually a musical, often risqué in style, mocking the theatrical and musical conventions and styles of the original work, and quoting text or music from the original work. They were literally mocking the classics, yo. 1868. First onstage tease. The credit for the first onstage tease in America goes to Lydia Thompson, the ambitious music hall darling behind the paradox burlesque troupe called the British Blondes. Their first success in New York was with Inksten, 1868. The mythological spoof saw women playing men's roles, a female-run production that showed underdressed, attractive women mimicking patriarchy's roles, including as sexual aggressors, pushed boundaries. No wonder the show was a hit. Lydia Thompson's first season in the city grossed over $3,700,000. Can we give it up for the OG babe of drag? American variety shows in the 1860s. A later use of the term, particularly in the United States, refers to performance in a variety show format. These were popular from the 1860s to the 1940s, often in cabarets and clubs, as well as theaters, and featured body comedy and female striptease. 1907. The Ziegfeld Follies. The Ziegfeld Follies take the stage on Broadway for the first time. The show opened in July 1907 at the New York Theater, featuring a scantily clad chorus line of beautiful women. Beginning in 1911, the show became known as the Ziegfeld Follies. Minsky's at the Winter Garden. The entertainments were given in clubs and cabarets, as well as music halls and theaters. By the early 20th century, there were two national circuits of burlesque shows competing with the vaudeville circuit, as well as resident companies in New York, such as Minsky's at the Winter Garden. Burlesque gradually becomes striptease. The transition from burlesque on the old lines to striptease was gradual. At first, soubrettes showed off their figures while singing and dancing. Some were less active, but compensated by appearing in elaborate stage costumes. The strippers gradually supplanted the singing and dancing soubrettes. By 1932, there were at least 150 strip principals in the U.S. What the heck is a soubrette? Noun. An actress or other female performer playing a lively, flirtatious role in a play or opera. So now you know. Star strippers. In the 1930s. Star strippers included Sally Rand, Gypsy Rose Lee, Temptress Storm, Lily St. Cyr, Blaze Starr, Anne Corio, and Margie Hart, who was celebrated enough to be mentioned in song lyrics by Lawrence Hart and Cole Porter. By the late 1930s, burlesque shows would have up to 6 strippers, supported by 1 or 2 comics, and a master of ceremonies. You strip, I'll tell jokes, okay? Prohibition in the 1940s. The uninhibited atmosphere of burlesque establishments owed much to the free flow of alcoholic liquor, and the enforcement of prohibition was a serious blow. In New York, Mayor Fiorello H. LaGuardia clamped down on burlesque, effectively putting it out of business by the early 1940s. This guy. Burlesque films popularize in the 1950s. Burlesque moves from the stage to the screen, with popular films including Lydia Burlesque, Strip-O-Rama, and French Follies. (1955) Showgirls take the stage in Vegas. Harold Minsky, of Minsky's Burlesque, moves to Vegas and pioneers the showgirl construct. 1956. Incorporation of the Exotic Dancers League. In 1956, the Exotic Dancers League is incorporated. Their first meeting is in June, where they discuss wages for dancers in Los Angeles. Pictured: Beverly Wilshire Hotel. The 1970s sees a decline in burlesque. Burlesque sees a sharp decline as nudity becomes more mainstream in the media. It got weird, I guess. (1991) First Miss Exotic World Pageant. Dixie Evans founds the Miss Exotic World Pageant to attract visitors and attention to the Exotic World Burlesque Museum. Also, what a OG babe. I mean... Enter Neo-Burlesque. A new generation, nostalgic for the spectacle and perceived glamour of the classic American burlesque, developed a cult following for the art in the early 1990s at Billy Madley's Cinema, and later at the Dutch Wiseman Follies, revenues in New York City, the Velvet Hammer Troupe in Los Angeles, and the Slim Chamettes in New Orleans. Later, Ivan Kane's Royal Jelly Burlesque nightclub at Revel Atlantic City opened in 2012. 2005, Burlesque Hall of Fame opens in Vegas. Exotic World moves to Las Vegas, where it is renamed the Burlesque Hall of Fame in 2005. It's still there today. You should go check it out. Meet famous performer Dita Von Teese. Dita Von Teese is one of the most famous modern-day burlesque performers, frequently dubbed the Queen of Burlesque in the press. Von Teese began performing burlesque in 1992, and as a proponent of Neo-Burlesque, has helped to popularize its revival. Burlesque today. Today, new burlesque has taken many forms, but all of the common trait of honoring one or more burlesque's previous incarnations, with acts including striptease, expensive costumes, body humor, cabaret, and more. There are modern burlesque performers and shows all over the world, and annual conventions such as the Vancouver Internal Burlesque Festival and the Miss Exotic World Pageant are held. Get inspired by the weird and wonderful world of burlesque. We hope you enjoyed learning more about the evolution of burlesque. And to learn even more about the history of this tease, head on over to our website, namaslaycrew.com. Mwah!